I'm not ready yet.
I didn't think it was going to just
Okay, well, hello. I'm not ready yet.
Sorry.
Just give me like 2 seconds while I navigate Daddy's phone here.
I can stop it.
Okay, no, here we go. I'm going to get the live video going on Instagram. And start the live video going over here. Okay.
I thought this was going to be a thumbnail.
No. I don't want it to do that. Turn around. No. Video. There. Now it's looking at me, not at the wall. Good morning, everybody. We are doing the 3-camera thing again, and I think we've got it down. I am going to be shifting my attention. I also wanted to talk to our friends on YouTube that have mentioned that the last few recordings had not good sound. And what's odd is the sound seems okay when it records like live, but there's something about the playback that's not going very well. So we're using a different camera today, and I'd really like your feedback if you're watching us on YouTube, and sort of let us know what you're thinking about the sound quality. I'm going to be playing with a couple of different microphones and trying to get the quality up like amazing. And we're going to actually be using a different product here pretty soon that will allow us to stream Facebook and YouTube from the same camera, but not Instagram, because Instagram doesn't like that. And that's okay. So anyways, I want to say good morning to everybody who's catching us. I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials, and today we're going to talk about sort of Waldorf if you are not homeschooling, and if you have to send your kids for one reason or another, or you choose to, and but you still want to keep Waldorf alive. But before I jump into that, I want to make sure that if you are not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, I want you to come back here, not on YouTube, but definitely on our Facebook and on our Instagram, or one of the places, and join us at 9 a.m. this morning, which is in 3 hours from now. And we are going to talk about that program in depth. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions. And most people don't realize, like there's no way that I can accurately write it out on the webpage. Even though you may have read the webpage, there are people that go, I didn't today at 9 o'clock back here, same place on Instagram and on our Facebook. So, and if you are a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you want to come back and you want to share your love of the program, you are more than welcome to come during that time and share the love so that we can we have this like massive goal for this week. And I would really love to help families get on board with this program because I think it's amazing. And I know I use hyperbole a lot, but I think it's amazing. And so I can't think of a reason to not have this program. If you are living this Waldorf-centered lifestyle, even if you send your kids, we have plenty of people that work the program that send their kids to either Waldorf school or not Waldorf school. So anyways, that's at 9 Pacific here today. So join us back here. If you're catching us live on YouTube, join us on our Facebook or Instagram later on this morning. So Facebook would be Waldorf Essentials with Melissa Nielsen. Instagram would just be Waldorf Essentials. Okay, that's done. So I hope everybody is excited to have a wonderful week. I know a lot of people are starting school this week. A lot of people, like myself, are eking all of the days out of summer that they can. So if you're on board with me and eking the days out of summer, we're actually going out of town. On Friday, we're going to Northern California. And for those of you who are watching that might be catching us at the Be Inspired workshop next Saturday, I hope you'll come in and introduce yourself because I want to meet you. And I'm really excited to be presenting at that workshop or at that conference. I am presenting Keeping a Peaceful Home. And I'm really excited just about that topic in general. And you guys who've been watching us for a while know that that's something we talk about a lot. So anyways, what do you do if you have to send your child to public school or you choose to, maybe you decided you really want to go back to work and homeschooling wasn't for you, but how do you keep that sort of alive? How do you keep that Waldorf space alive when they're gone? at school, and how do you really work to keep yourself in a good place and keep your mindset in a good place? Because I think that one of the biggest things when you have then kids that aren't at home is you have a lot of extras that you have to deal with. You'll have homework that you have to deal with, and you'll have another teacher that you'll have to deal with, and you'll have that added influence of other kids, and not being able to control what other parents bring to those kids. And so, often that's one of the reasons why people homeschool, is because that they can, I don't want to say control the environment, because that sounds really controlling, but it is a bit about controlling the environment, or at least being able to monitor the environment and being able to grow it in a way that you are excited about, in a way that makes you feel good, in a way that really brings really brings this space of reverence to your family. And you don't have that. You just don't have that when you send them. You don't have that when you send them to a Waldorf school. It doesn't matter what school. Once they're not at home, there's this whole other added element. And for a lot of people, that other element of not being able to control that environment, or being able to really cultivate that environment, is okay for them. That's why we have public school, or why we have other school options. And so I don't want to at any point make anybody feel bad about that choice, because I know for some people it's a have to choice, because they have to have two people working, or there's no other way that they can figure out how to wrangle it. Or I work with a lot of clients who have not so nice ex-husbands that they homeschooled, and then their ex-husbands made them send their kids. Or maybe moms that don't have ex-husbands yet, and they're working on having an ex-husband, and they have to send their kids. So I completely understand that situation, and I want to be very, very compassionate to those of you who have that as your reality. So how do you then cultivate this at home? How do you continue to have this amazing togetherness and the things that you feel very valuable about Waldorf at home? And how do you keep yourself in a good place? Because I think that that's the biggest piece, is keeping you in a good place. When mom is in a good place, everybody's in a good place, or at least you can support people in being in a good place. It's a lot harder to support people being in a good place when everybody is scattered, and mom is just not feeling it, and not feeling centered and grounded. So excuse me. So the number one thing I would say is continue your inner work. If you've been doing inner work while you've been homeschooling, and now you have to send them, do not stop. In fact, I would say it is probably 4,000 times more important now that they're gone than it was when they were there, because you have to be a spiritual center for your children. And if you're not, they're not going to get it where they're going. They're not. Even if they're going to a Waldorf school, they'll get a lot of the amazing curriculum portions if they're going to a Waldorf school, but they're not going to get that spiritual piece that you bring within home. Even if they go to a Catholic school or a parochial school, because I went to one, and while we had spirit was part of the curriculum, it was not part of the curriculum. I don't know if that makes sense. It was because you can't force the spirit to be someplace. The spirit resides where people have open hearts, contrite spirits, and they're willing to have it be there, and they're inviting it there. It can't reside where you're forcing it to be there. And so, I want you to kind of keep that in mind, that when you're working with, like, how do you navigate this, you've got to invite the spirit to be where you are, to invite it. And that's not a religious thing. That's a spiritual thing. You have to invite the spirit. The spirit will not dwell where it's crazy, where it's not peaceful, where there's a lot of contention. And so that's one reason why we work on having a peaceful home, is because the spirit can't reside in a place where it's not peaceful. It's just not possible. And in fact, sometimes I'll go, where did it go? We lost the spirit. We need to find it again. My kids think I'm crazy. But I am just a little bit. So if you notice it, when you can feel it, because it's palpable, I think it's very palpable. I think it's a something that we can really feel, especially when we tune into it. You can feel it, and it shows up in everybody's happy, everything feels good, things are flowing. Your food doesn't get burned, and if it does, then it's not a big deal. It just flows. That's what happens when the Spirit is with you and the Spirit is in your home and in your space. And so you're going to have to work harder to sort of bring that back in when they have to leave you during the day. So what I would suggest is to have a gathering before they leave and have a gathering as soon as they get home. So if you have to pick them up from school, and you have that gathering in your car, you pull over to the side of the road, you do a check-in. How was your day? Okay, we're going to have our gathering really fast. And you do either a prayer or a verse or something that anchors you back together, that like knits you back together after you've been apart. So that, I would say, right after your inner work is like paramount importance to be able to bring everybody back together. And so if it's when they go off to school and they're walking home, and so they come home rather than you picking them up at school, then as soon as they get in the door, and if you've got kids coming in at different times, then you have to anchor that with each one. And then when everybody's home, you all come together, because it's super important to have that togetherness, that reconnection, and that reconnection every day. Don't miss a day. Reconnection every day is what's going to help you know what's going on at school. It's going to have them telling you more than they would otherwise. It's going to have them wanting to sort of be part of that family connection. Even your teenagers want it. Listen, I get it. Oh, don't hug me. Don't touch me. I get it. Guess what? They still want you to hug them anyway. So we do this like weird thing. I'll go, well, I'm going to give you a hand hug then, which is just a squeeze, you want to stay connected in any way possible, because when you send them, they are disconnected from you the entire day. And that is not about, oh, I can't cut the apron strings, or, oh, I can't cut the umbilical cord. It's not about that. It's about a spiritual connection that you provide in your home that when they're gone is not there. So it's about bringing that back. So you really have to be on your game. So if you are sending them, and I'm going to challenge you to double up on your inner work, to double up on you feeling good, to double up on anything you do in your home that cultivates the Spirit, because it will be needed like in droves when they're gone. And then when they come home, they're really, really, really going to need that loving space for you to be with them. So when they come home, then just listen to them. Hopefully you're in a spot where maybe you're there when they come home, and you can just sit on the couch and you can just talk about how their day went. If you're not, if you're gone at work, then my suggestion is when you gather everybody back at home at night, that's got to be the most important thing. So then, Mom, if you're working all day, the number 3, I think I'm on 3, important thing is menu. You need to know what you're eating. You need to know what you're eating, because it will save time when they get home. Every second is so precious when you have them and they're gone all day and then you get them back. So I want to, I have an itch. I want to impress upon you that you've got to get your menu in order. You've got to know what you're eating. You've got to have it ready every day so that you can spend those extra precious hours with them. And sometimes it's minutes. I know that there are families that's just the reality. They go to school, they go to daycare, and they come home and they're home for an hour before they have to go to bed. I understand that. So you want to make sure that you've got that part covered. You want to make sure that mealtime is covered and it's not something you think about. So buy an Instant Pot. I'm telling you, something so that you have got it all together and it's easy for you every night. And then you can spend those extra minutes with them. Involve them in the preparation process, bring them in. I know it's really easy for me as a cleric to go, you know what, I can just do this by myself and get it done so much faster. But you need that connection time. So bring them in and ask them to help you connect together, do chores together, do homework together, do all of those things together so that you are feeling very connected in your space and in what you need to do. So I want to say that. So let's see, I said inner work and connection. What was the second thing that I said? Something else. My brain, it's already gone. I just want you to be sure that you do that connection. So then If you're sending your kids to a Waldorf school, having the curriculum alive in your home is not necessary because it's already alive in the school. But if not, I want you to look at the literature portions of the curriculum. If you really, really want to keep the Waldorf piece alive, look at the literature portions of the curriculum. So for first grade, that would be fairy tales. In second grade, that would be fables. In third grade, that would be Old Testament stories, farming stories, and things like that. Fourth grade, it would be Norse myth and local history. Fifth grade would be ancient cultures. So I would bring those pieces in. And I have several clients that actually buy the curriculum guide so that they can follow through with some of those lessons at home. So I would first just work on the story content. Story content is, I think, huge, especially when they are going to be getting conflicting and probably non-linear history at school. I don't even understand that, but it happens. Excuse me. So you want to be able to bring that at home. And that doesn't have to be this extra heavy burden. I would check books out at the library. Those are your read alouds for a night. Or something that you might listen to, a book on tape while you're in the car together, or something like that. Make it simple. Find ways to make it simple, but bring those pieces in at the right ages so that it feeds them at the right ages. So also with that, as I'm saying ages, your child might be in first grade public school, but they might really be in kindergarten Waldorf. So don't bring them first grade Waldorf material unless they're first grade Waldorf. So in Waldorf, first grade is for the child that's 7 or nearly 7. Second grade would be 8 or nearly 8, and so on. So you want to make sure you bring that material. And if you are trying to figure out, okay, what is that material, then hop on our website. It's melissanielsen.com/resources. And there is a curriculum, a Waldorf curriculum chart, and it tells you all of the pieces that they would do in a Waldorf school or Waldorf homeschool every day. And so that, or every year. So that way you know what to pick and what to pull. And it allows you to then really be able to bring those things together at home. The obvious things you could do is the fluff. And, you can have the pretty play stands, and you have the silks, and you have the wooden toys at home. Those are kind of obvious pieces. But when I talk to families, I would say that do not bring the play until you bring the practical. The practical is so much more important than those kind of fluffy pieces. You want to bring the practical so that you, and I'm not saying you're neglecting the play. What I'm saying is that you want to bring the parts that are the most important. And whether or not they had wooden play stands, not important in the long run. It's more important that they have you and that you're centered, and that you're able then to greet them. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to wave hi to everybody in Facebook and hi to everybody on Instagram. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or, anything specific? I know that we have a lot of families that are starting school this week and sending their kids. And I know for a lot of mamas, that's been like a really hard thing. And so I want to just give you a giant hug. If I could hug you all. If you don't want to be in this spot, I'm really sorry that you're in this spot, because it's not fun to have to do something for your kids that you don't want to do, that you would rather do something else. And if you are somebody who is okay sending them, then I hope that you have a really good year. I hope that you, that going forward, you feel really good about your decisions, because that's what's most important, is that you feel good about your decisions. I also want to encourage all of you that, if you get halfway through the year and it doesn't feel good, then change it. Pull them out, change schools. Don't be afraid to do what's best for your kids. Don't be afraid to step up and be their biggest advocate, because that's what our children need. They need us to be their advocates. And that means that we've got to be involved. So just because you send them does not mean you don't have to be involved. You've got to be involved in what they're doing at school. You've got to know the teacher. You've got to know the principal. You've got to know, the PTA, all of the boards. You need to do what you can to be as involved as possible in what's going on at the school. And sometimes you get people pat you on the head and tell you it's okay, go home, overprotective mom. Don't listen to those people. You need to just be present with them and understand that your kids really need you. When they come home, they really need that space, that mom, that connection, that coming back together. So I think that's it for today. If you have any questions about this topic and you want to shoot them over to me, I'm happy to answer those. You can grab me on DM on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, people will say to me, how do you know this? You even have a kid that went to public school? I did. My son that is now 19 went to public school in 10th grade. And I held my breath because I knew it was either going to be really awesome or it was going to be a big suck fest. And for him, it was really awesome. It was not what I chose for him. It was something that he chose with his dad that he lives with now. And so that was a not a fun thing for me, but I made the best out of it. And guess what? Even though I live in California and he lives in Utah, who was the one talking to his counselors? Me, all the time. They were an email away. And they made sure that they communicated with me. And I made sure I communicated with them because I wanted to be involved, even though I was 2 states away. And so it makes a difference. It makes a difference if you are the non-custodial parent, and you have to, you have to deal with these people anyway. So put your game face on, be happy, and do the best you can. The compliments I got were, I cannot believe this child is so centered. And what was funny is, if you've heard me talk about Jacob before, it's not my most centered child. Honey, if you're listening, I love you. I think that while he was in many ways my hardest at home, that hard work really paid off when he went to school. That hard work and that clashing that we did, his teachers were so impressed with him. And it was because I taught him to think openly, and I taught him to just sort of understand things at a different level. And so he impressed teachers like crazy. I had teachers calling me. I had counselors calling me. It was a very, very amazing transition for him. And like I said, I held my breath because I was worried it was going to suck. I was worried it was going to be bad. It was not bad. It was not bad for him at all. And so, but he will come out and say now that homeschooling is really awesome. He's graduated. He's in college now. But he very much missed those days. And so we would still, when he would talk to us about what we were doing, if we were having a festival, we talk about the festival. We talk about those things. And when he came to visit us, St. Nicholas came to our home when he was here at Christmas time. We were always very involved. And so that's what I challenge you. If you've got to send them, be involved. If you're the non-custodial parent, be involved as much as you can. Okay, I got a message over here. Mom says, I'm in a position where I need to send my kids off to public school so very reluctantly. It's temporary, I hope, until I get a few things done, including your material to prepare for homeschool. Hey, honey, you and I should talk about that because I think that we could get you ready. I have been praying for a sign it will be okay, so I can't believe this was your subject today. Message me, and we'll take care of that. It will help you.
Nod G13 says you're an inspiration, Melissa.
Oh, thank you. I try. I really love what I do, you guys. I have a really good job. I love to talk to people. I love to help them work through things. And even though we have to work through some muck in order for us to know how to help you guys, it's awful working through it, but I really appreciate the experiences that we have so that then we can help others. And that's what you should do. If you're somebody who's been through a lot of yuck, help somebody else who's going through yuck, because it makes you feel better. It makes you stronger. It makes you confident, and it'll help that other person. So thank you very much for your sweet words. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. We are excited for this week. We have, like I said, we have some pretty big goals. So if you're praying people, please say a prayer for the Nielsen's this week, because we have some pretty big goals we're trying to realize. And we hope that you will join us back here at 9 o'clock Pacific. So that's in 2.5 hours, ladies, 2.5 hours. Come back and we're going to talk about our Thank You Feeling Willing program, why it is amazing, whether or not you send your kids or you're homeschooling, and exactly what it entails. And I think that you'll like it. I think you will enjoy the chat. So bring me your honest, brutal questions. I want to hear them. Over here, one more. My home atmosphere has changed since beginning the mom lessons. Yes, Monica. My husband even commented, I don't know what's different, but everything is just better here. Yes. I had a mom post one time that her husband said that the dollars they spent on Thinking Feeling Willing were the best dollars ever spent. Yes, that's what I like to hear. We work really hard, Eric and I do, don't we, honey?
Yep.
To get this to be the most transformative dollars that you've ever spent. And, as homeschoolers, that's the number one objection I get. So I just cover this right now. The number one objection I get is, oh, I can't afford that. And I go, oh, but you bought the play stands. No, you need this. You need a program that supports you. You need a program that gets you where you want to go. And I'm a life coach, so I pour so much into this program that has nothing to do with homeschooling. People are messaging me every day. Hey, I'm struggling with my partner. I'm struggling with my mother. I'm struggling with something in my personal life. Is that covered? And can you coach me on that? Yes, I can. It's all covered. It's all covered. So you get a life coach at an insanely cheap price when you buy Thinking, Feeling, Willing, because there's no other place that you could actually have a life coach for that cheap. It's just not possible. And that's not for my non-Thinking, Feeling, Willing members. They don't get me that cheap. So it's the best way to get it. Okay. All right. Love you all. Have a good week. Bye.